it's my son and who probably taught me more about what a person should consider around penalties than anybody. I'll make this quick. I said to Elijah one time, hey, you gotta start brushing your teeth. I mean, we gotta remind you every night. This is getting really annoying. So I know you're collecting quarters. So I'm gonna take away, it's gonna cost you $1 every time you forget to brush your teeth. He goes, all right. So he heads around the corner and turned to my wife and going, hey, successful parent. And he comes around the corner and he slaps 7 quarters on the table. He goes, I'm good for a week. And my wife looks back at me, successful parent, hey? And in that moment, my son Elijah taught me something about penalties that I've wondered for a while. Number one, if the penalized person doesn't care about the penalty, it's not gonna work. Clearly he didn't care. He'd gladly give up some quarters. Number two, it didn't fit my aim. Like, I wasn't trying to benefit financially from my son's tooth decay, right? I was hoping he would brush his teeth, but that wasn't occurring either with my new penalty paradigm. And the third question would be, how often do you have to use the penalty? And if you're using it on a regular basis, something isn't working. Like building more prisons, something's wrong. And lastly, and this is most powerful for me, is the penalized person in control of the variables? Meaning, for my son, maybe not. Does he know what tooth decay is? Does he know what a dentist drill feels like? I don't know. Probably not. So is he really in the best position to make that decision? Now, if we take this to the grading arena, teachers give out zeros and late deductions like they're candy half the time, and students don't care. Only when I stopped giving zeros in my classroom did I have students come up and say, hey, could I just take a zero on that? You're like, no, you actually have to do it. Please? I'll buy you lunch. Just give me a zero. And it's like, okay, I don't think those were all that effective if students are quite willing to take those. They don't fit my overall aim. I want to grade learning, not compliance. How often do I use them? I'm using them all the time. And lastly, how do you professionally apply a penalty, like a grading penalty, like a zero or a late deduction, to a student who has to work till midnight so their family can afford their rent? How do you apply a grading penalty to a student who's had their utilities cut off? And we don't know what's all going on in our students' lives, but I think whatever we do in our schools around grading and assessment, we better have systems that fit, systems that apply to catching those students who are having difficulties outside the school. And some of those difficulties, many unfortunately, we'll never ever know about. So I think a lot of what my book has to talk about is how do we build systems that are robust for all learners, those on the lowest end of the spectrum, those on the highest end of the spectrum, that'll work for everybody.